This call is now being
Este es
recorded.
Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Eric Fuentes.
un individuo encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello.
Hello.
Eric,
Hey.
is this Eric Fuentes?
Eric Fuentes. Yep.
What's up, Eric, man? How you doing today?
What up, James? I'm doing all right, man. Another day, thank God.
That's right. Man, and we already got some people in here. We got Lovely Sunshine right on time. We got Scorpio Rising. We also got ICEMAN. This should be good. Lovely Sunshine writes, hi Eric, and Scorpio Rising. Good evening, Eric.
Hello, everyone.
Man, so how was your CGA meeting today?
Oh man, it was good, man. It was good. It's good to go out there and be a part of a fellowship like that, man. It keeps me on track. It keeps me grounded, and it reminds me of staying on the path and knowing that I have other people that I could count on to support me whenever I'm struggling. So it's always good to be out there with like-minded individuals and just share about the things we're going through, the things we're struggling with, and then just find some kind of support, some encouragement from the fellas. So it's always good, man. It's always good. Sometimes, I tend to think I'm good, I don't need it right now, but once I go, I'm like, oh shoot, yeah, I did need this, because it fills my cup, So yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome to have conversations out there. We kind of just talked about belief systems, beliefs, and manners, beliefs, attitudes, and habits, and things like that, and the lifestyle addiction. So it was good, man. It was very fulfilling.
Man, that's always good to hear. You're.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
It's good to hear that you're not squandering away. You're this time that you have to yourself. To work on yourself and make yourself a better individual.
For sure. That's what it's all about, man. As hard as it may get sometimes, it's man, just get your ass up and go out there, But
man.
Yeah.
I feel like that every day in the morning, man. I never want to get up. I have to put this morning I was supposed to wake up at 4:30. I ended up snoozing my alarm until about 9 o'clock in the morning.
Damn, that was more than a snooze. Yeah.
I was surprised my wife didn't tell me, just turn it off already. You're not going to get up. Where are you going at this time in the morning?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
It happens so, man.
Yeah, sometimes I be dragging my feet sometimes, I have plans, but then it was just a thought. And I guess sometimes I just tell myself all that matters is that I had the intentions.
Yeah, exactly. At least that's what we tell ourselves to kind of ease the,
Yeah,
the pain. Damn, I should have got up, man. But at least the thought was there,
Yeah, you know what? In my defense, I didn't end up going to sleep till maybe until 1:30, almost 2 o'clock in the morning. So I would have only been I would only had maybe 2 hours of sleep. So it was nothing good was gonna come out of that. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You was tripping in the first place.
Yeah.
That was the first mistake.
Yeah.
That's out. Yeah, for sure. I do that all the time, man. I have my alarm clock for certain times in the morning, and I cannot meet those times.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not a morning person. I never have. So for me, like even like go to work, I prefer a job that starts a little bit later on in the day. Um, that gives
Right.
me more time to to get get up and get ready and things of that nature. So sometimes at work, I go in at 10:30, so that's right up my alley. As long as I'm up by like 8:30,
Yeah.
then that gives me enough time to be get to work by 10.
Right. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah. That's a good one. That's a good time right there.
Yeah.
I
And
wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind that.
you know what? So last time we spoke, man,
So last time we spoke, man,
you we left out at I would say like the pinnacle point of your journey. Pretty much what led you up to the action that you took was what led you to where you're at now. And
right.
and I'm sure for yourself, sharing something like that, it's not easy. Thinking back to the person that you were, back then, and pretty much just putting everything on the table and letting you being transparent, to the actions that you took at that time, and then I mean, you created chaos. You you created,
Destruction all
yeah.
around.
Yeah, like those actions that you took, it affected a lot of not only your family, but it affected, the family of the victim. I'm not sure what the age of the victim was, but if he was married, possibly had a wife, kids, a mom, a dad, sister, brother, cousins.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
you know, uh,
All
when you commit acts like that, it just doesn't affect one person. It affects a lot of a lot of und- a lot of other individuals. And
that.
thinking
Yeah.
back at the actions that you took that day, and the impact that you had on that family, how do you feel about it now?
Oh man. For one, man, I just want to say that, yeah, after I shared that with you guys, man, that was heavy. It was heavy. It was heavy on me, and and it was tough. It was tough to even speak about. It brought about like this shame, and just to put it out there like that too, to like to expose myself in a way, or with transparency, of course, but like it just felt it felt very heavy that day, man. But I'm glad I did it because it's also helping me heal, and it's helping me to like show responsibility and accountability and things like that, things of that nature. And so I mean, I mean, the, it's nothing in comparison to what I've put others through. So I mean, I welcome it. It's what keeps me going on a positive path. And in line with man, with just changing my life for the better. Every day. And so yeah, man, it was a heavy conversation for sure that day. But I'm glad you were helping me get through it, asking me questions and things like that, and just helping me out through it. So, and I appreciate the listeners too for hearing me out, and maybe not being too judgmental or things like that. So it was yeah, but it was tough. It was tough. Yeah, so I just wanted to share that, man, because yeah, I was like it left me empty for like a day or two, just thinking about that,
Yeah.
and so I was just like, damn, because yeah, it is true, it's like reliving it and going back there, and it was heavy. It was heavy on me, but it's what needs to be done in order to like um, to heal from it, to grow from it, to forgive myself from it, and move forward from it, and well, not move forward, like leave it in the past, but like to be able to do something positive out of it, something good out of it, trying to look at the silver lining of things. But
let me ask you something. Let me ask you something, Eric. How old were you when the crime went down?
I was 19. I was 19 when I committed my crime.
And
yeah,
let me take you back to to that time when this went down. So, if I remember correctly, you had mentioned that you had lost a friend, sometime close to when this action happened.
Right.
And the reason that you did this was to, it was payback, right? Like you wanted to, get even, right? In other words.
Right. I think that's the story that I told myself for sure. Yeah.
And so you're 19 years old. Are you thinking about any of these things? That you were going to take somebody away from their family, or possibly that you were going to forfeit your life as a free man and go to prison for the rest of your life? What was going through your mind at that time?
Man, absolutely not. It was none of that was going through my mind. None of that was going through my mind. What I was thinking was, I'm gonna instill pain in others, for the pain that I feel. That we say hurt people, and it may sound cliche or whatnot or whatever, but that's the honest. That's the truth, Like, yeah, I wasn't thinking about any of that. I wasn't thinking about the consequences. It was just you're just not thinking. You're just thinking in the moment, what you're gonna do, and and it's gonna feel good or satisfy some kind of something that's lacking, I'm thinking like that, thinking like, oh yeah, like I don't know what the hell I was thinking, to be honest with you. Like, now that I look back at it, like, it makes no sense. Whatever my thought process was at the time, it was a senseless crime, and it was just like, well, I'm gonna cause pain on others, just like the pain that has been caused on my friends and on me and things like that. So that's really what was my mindset during that time,
Yeah. I mean, I could think back when I was 19. I could never imagine, getting to 40, 43, or even older. I was living in the moment and wasn't really thinking about what the consequences were at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I could somewhat relate, but not 100%, because I never picked up any weapons, or I wasn't really a violent person growing up.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No.
So last time we spoke, so you kind of left off where you had got picked up by the police. So when the crime went down, how many people were involved on your side?
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
So it was there was like, that were there that day. It was like 6 of us in a car, and it was two girls were in the vehicle, and then like it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 of us, 4 members of where I used to be from,
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
And
yeah, so in total it was 6 of us, yeah.
And how was it that the authorities found out that it was you that committed this crime?
Well, one of them ended up they ended up like 2 of them ended up getting busted like that same day in the afternoon. And he ended up saying, like, he ended up throwing my name out there. He ended up saying, like, oh, I heard this and I heard that, but he failed to mention that he was actually there, you know, but he had just said, like, oh, I had heard that this happened and that happened when they got arrested that same day. But I think I'm going to have to call you back, James.
Yeah. We're about 5 seconds before we get cut, so we'll be waiting.
All right.
All right, cool. So I want to go ahead and give a shout out to all of you that are here to support and listen to this journey. As you guys already know, like if you've been here before, I'm not here to glorify, you know, any of the street life, prison life, or any, you know, anything that comes with that life. But I feel that it is important that people like Eric share their stories. You know, maybe there's somebody out there. It doesn't necessarily need to be a child, you know, because we can even you know, reach out to people that are older, like in my age, that are possibly still in the street for whatever reasons, and maybe they'll hear something here that'll help them, you know, get off of that.
This call is now being recorded.
Link. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Eric Fuentes.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello, Eric.
Hello. Yeah.
So I would call them. These would be your crimies, right? Because they were in the same car with you. Everybody knew what was gonna happen, right? It wasn't like a surprise. Like you guys were in a car and then you just, you know, you pull out a strap and you start dumping. Everybody knew what it was and what was gonna take place, and nobody said like, damn, like, or like, were there any other individuals that said like, nah, I don't want this, right? Like let me get off. I think I hear my mom calling me. I shouldn't be here. Or was everybody like, yeah, cool, let's go, let's do this?
Yeah, they do exactly that. You know, it was just like, hey, we got to go back. Like, all right, then, like, let's roll. Like, you know, like, everybody knew what time it was. Everybody knew what the motive was. And so it was like, all right, like, let's go do this, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's just how it went down. And initially, like I mentioned too, like it was one of the guys that was with us that was supposed to come out and commit this act, you know, this senseless act. And when we got there, he just ended up like nah, I'm cool or whatnot, you know, like I don't know, he just decided not to at the end of the day, you know, and so that's when I took matters into my own hands. Yeah.
So you're like, here, let me get this, fool. Like, if you get out the way.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, yeah, like, let me show you how it's done, you know? And it was like a sense of like pride or like something, you know, like, in doing that at the time. And so, yeah, it was one of those situations. But like I said, I mentioned, last time too, it was just like, I was just waiting for the moment, you know, to be able to commit this kind of crime, or, you know, to act out in violence. Like, yeah, it wasn't like, oh, well then if you don't want to do it, I'll do it. But it was like, oh yeah, then this is my opportunity, you know. This is my chance to let things off, you know. And so that's kind of.
You know what? Hearing something like that actually scares me, man. Like thinking that there's people out there like that, they're ready to do something like that. I'm like, shit, I better be careful. Right. Like, and I never thought about that. You know, when I was out there, like damn, like there's fools out here that are ready to, they're ready to give it to you. You know, even if you don't want it. But now that I mean, and you're not the first person to tell me that. So I'm like, shit. So now, when I'm out on the street now, I'm like, shit. You just never know. Like some people are ready to do this, and if you just happen to be that person, to come at them sideways or say something that that they don't like, you might end up being that one. So definitely have to be mindful on how you're moving out there.
For sure, especially in the neighborhoods where we grew up, and certain neighborhoods out there, like certain areas, it gets like that. There's people out there, trigger happy, like just waiting, and it's so crazy to think about, right? But I was one of those individuals, that was me. Like violence was normal to me. It became normalized beginning in the household, with domestic violence and things like that, and then moving out into the streets with the homies and the gang, and then going to funerals, and it just became an acceptable way of life. Like, this is how you do things, and so it was like, it was really nothing. It was just like, this is regular. Like, this is really like this is what we're supposed to do. This is what we're supposed to do. Like, yeah, it just seems so, in that lifestyle, it's so acceptable, and even like condoned, especially in that lifestyle. You're a gang member, like what? Like, yeah, like the homie's a gunner, that fool's a killer, that's kind of like what I thrived off of, like, oh yeah, that fool, like, yeah, it was like, yup, like, yeah, like, hear me, and it was like, gave me like a sense of worth and value and things like that. And so, yeah, man, that just, it's crazy. It's crazy to think about it that way, but that's a brutal, honest truth, of those kind of mindsets.
And that warp mentality doesn't change, once you hit the county jail or move through the system of the California prison system. It seems like the deeper you get in, it's like the more warped it is, like other stuff that is wrong it's everybody's patting you on the back, when you're doing these things. So it's if some people might, you know what, I think a lot of people don't understand, that mindset, and they don't understand the neighborhoods we came from and what we had to deal with. It's easy for them to say, like, right, well, you should have just moved. Shit. Yeah, I mean, if it was that easy, we wouldn't be living in these places, Luckily, myself, I don't live in those neighborhoods anymore, so I for the majority of it, I don't have to deal with it, and it's a huge relief because my daughter's not gonna have to deal with it, and it's scary. I mean, it's really, looking back at it, like a lot of stuff that I used to see normal, and I look back, I'm like, man, like that the whole just living in those areas is the mentality is so warped and negative that sometimes you don't realize until you get removed from those places.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely a distorted belief system. It's like, what was good was bad, and was bad was good.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
It was backwards, in the way I believed, in the way that I thought, like, no, you don't call the cops, like that. Hell no, that's out. Like, you go take care of that yourself, or like things like that, like as simple as that. Like, oh yeah, when we're using or whatever, we're slanging, like, oh yeah, that's how you make money. Like, that was a good thing, like, oh yeah, the homie is moving major weight. Like, yeah, that's what's up, not even thinking about all the people that's being hurt because of it, that you're impacting because of drug selling. But no, it was a good thing, like, yeah, look, that's who's balling. So it was just all the way backwards. It was a distorted thinking, big time, distorted mentality.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring you back to that day where So the day or the day after, some of your crimies, they get caught and they end up dropping your name. How long after they dropped your name did they come pick you up?
Probably about 2 weeks and some change, like maybe almost 3 weeks. Like yeah, like so the crime happened like around midnight, right? It was midnight that day, so it was already that day, and then they ended up getting busted in the neighborhood, like in the day that day, like hours later, just kicking in the neighborhood, and then they ended up getting arrested and stuff like that. They ended up finding a gun, and they ended up taking them in, and so like probably like
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
about like 17 days later, I was arrested for my crime. Yeah.
And when they got picked up, were you aware that they got picked up, or you didn't find out till they picked you up that they got picked up and told?
No, I was aware. I was very much aware. And I was like, damn. But I was just hoping and praying, like, man, these fools, like, hopefully nobody says nothing. Hopefully everybody, you start thinking like, well, I mean, I don't want to, I'll personalize it. Like, I thought, like, the homie would never do that to me. They like them fools are solid. Like, and you're in that lifestyle, and so that's like the code. You don't tell, you don't snitch, you don't say nothing, you keep your mouth shut. And so that's what I expected, and so that's what I believed. But it was like I seen it all the way through. Like one of those guys got out like the same day, or like the day afterwards, and I was like, what? And so it was like, oh shoot, like we kind of already knew, like the buzz around the neighborhood was like, man, this fool got out like hella fast, like like there's something iffy there. And so, but I chose not to believe it. I chose like whatever. But I sensed it though. I sensed it, and like yeah, I was already planning to leave the country and all that stuff. Like I was already ready to bounce. I just didn't get enough time to end up doing that. I was trying to evade justice at all costs. Like just being cowardice in a way. I mean, not in a way, but most definitely, like just trying to get away with murder. So
And
yeah,
and you just
so I was aware.
And just a moment ago, you mentioned like you sensed it.
Yeah.
Let me ask you. So the day that event happened, did you feel anything? Like, cause I know like when I would be out messing around with my friends, and some days that I happened to get arrested, like a few hours before when we were out messing around, like I would get like these butterflies in my stomach. Something my body was telling me like don't be here, like leave. Like did you have like a sensation like that, like man, like I shouldn't be here, like I should get out of here, or and you chose to ignore it, or you didn't have any type of sensation or feelings or butterflies or whatever you want to call it, like your body letting you know that that it's about to be all bad?
So the day that my crime happened.
Yeah.
Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I had red flags going up all over the place. Like I definitely don't go there. Like you already, you can't be there. But it was just like, and it was that denial. That like nah, it's all good. Like everything's been like you're tripping. Or like don't even worry about it. Like everything's gonna be all right, or things like that. And yeah, so yeah, I definitely felt like I should not have gone to that party. But I chose to ignore it. I was like, nah, like it's all good. Like, nah, it's and then living in the way that I was living too, I was feeling it like I was invincible, or like I was some kind of like I don't know what the hell, like ain't gotta worry, it ain't gonna happen to me. you know, I had that mentality, you know, that belief system, like, nah, until it does happen to you, and then it's like, oh shit, like, man, it's all bad, you know. But yeah, I knew I shouldn't have. I should have just stayed away, but yeah, I ignored it. I ignored all cautionary flags that were coming up, like, and so yeah.
And when you were out on
Not
the
even
street, when you were out on the streets, like did your mom ever tell you, like, hey, ¿qué andas haciendo? Like, ¿por qué andas haciendo eso? Tú sabes dónde vas a ir si sigues haciendo lo que andas haciendo. Because I remember my mom telling me that shit, you know, like, hey, ¿qué haces? You know, like what's wrong with you? And I'm like, nah, todo va a estar bien, mano. No te preocupes. And sure enough, boom, next thing I was in county jail. Like, and I come home and I told you, like, were you getting any type of, you know, feedback from your family?
Well, my mom, she was yeah, she would tell me.
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
She would pretty much just tell me, like, man, pórtate bien, you know, like, agarra un trabajo, ponte a trabajar, haz algo, you know, eres inteligente, you know, you could do more with your life, but I didn't heed to none of that stuff, you know, none of the stuff she was telling me, like, no se preocupe, you know, like, I got this, you know, no hay de qué preocuparse, you know, like, things like that, and yeah, but they knew, and my mom knew, like, but she never really, like, because she was, like, not trying to face it either, you know, like her kids were gang members in a way, you know, she knew, but it was like in denial as well, like, not really wanting to like, confront it, you know, address it, you know.
All right, so I definitely missed the 60-second mark. Eric, you know, should be calling back shortly, and then we'll go ahead and continue with this journey. And yeah, that's something I could definitely relate with, you know, my mom advising me and letting me know that it was gonna end all bad. Like I've stated before, you know, I never gangbanged. I never did anything as far as that, but that didn't stop me from, you know, from being out in the streets and you know, witnessing a lot of stuff that was going out there at the time.
This call is now being recorded.
Global Link. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Eric Fuentes.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Link.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, man, every time I say hello, man, I think about the P line, the party line. That's how everybody, I remember when people just jump and be like, hello. Where you from, let's say?
Oh, man. Yeah, that's oh, man, that's super old school right there. The P line, man, that's crazy. Yeah, I got everybody on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you at?
Yeah.
You want to meet up? Yeah. But I'm right here, you know.
Yeah.
All that stuff was so fun. Yeah.
Comical, man. It was comedy. It was comedy. But I'm pretty sure some people got, you know, they got, you know, because there was some females on there, and I'm pretty sure they were using them as bait, you know, to lure dudes in. So today that was before the Craigslist unaliver and, you know, and all that stuff. You know, we used to use that phone system. You know, I remember there was like a few throughout the city. I remember there was one like in Long Beach, a 310 P line, and then there was like a 213 and an 818. So, you know, they were scattered all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny.
Yep.
Yeah.
So okay, so you know your buddy got popped. obviously at some point they end up come picking you up. Did they raid your house? Did they catch you out the street? Like how was it that the coppers ended up apprehending you?
Man, so that day, and I kind of knew, like, man, they're probably out here looking for me. So I was kind of like trying to stay low key too. I was staying low key around my house, like not really trying to be around there, just being at other people's houses and things like that. But that day, I ended up being there, and I put myself out there. And it is so I was so messed up. I was in such a bad path that I was influencing others as well too, and things like that. And I had one of my neighbors come ask me to like help him go buy a bong. You know, he was young too. He's probably like in high school or like if not like he's probably like in the 9th grade. And he's like, let's go help me go buy a bong and stuff like that. And I was just like, man, you know what? Matter of fact, I'm gonna take you somewhere. You're just gonna go steal this bong. And so we ended up doing that. I ended up like he came by my house and you just talking about he wanted a pipe and this and that. And I had seen like a smoke shop up the street that I was just like, you know what? This would be a good spot to come up on these bongs, because they were like right by the exit door, and it was like real quick, like bam, like, oh yeah, this is definitely doable. And keep in mind too, like I had shared, like I'd been a klepto since I was freaking 3, 4 years old, you know what I mean? Like since I was little, so it was just something that was stuck with me. And so I would observe these things. I'd pay attention to a lot of these things, and so I ended up taking them. I ended up taking to the smoke shop, and I kind of instructed him like what he needed to do, and you know, like, look, man, just go in there. It's right to your left. As soon as you walk in, it's right to your left. Just grab it and run out. Try to grab 2. You know, grab 2 so I can have one, you can have one. You know, and you got yourself a bong. And so
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Yeah, I ended up convincing him to do it, and I took him over there, and I'm telling you, like, just using my influence in a negative way, I took him over there, and he ended up doing it, and we did it, and he stole it. He only grabbed 1, so I was kind of upset. Like, man, what the hell, you know, like, because I wanted 2, I wanted my own, so I was like, man, I'm just going to keep this one, and you could borrow it every now and then or whatnot. But, so we came back to my house, but the bong, they didn't have the bubbler, they didn't have the bowl. And so I was just like, well, I was already out there, so I was just like, you know what? There's another smoke shop over here, and we could probably go buy the bowl, you know? And so that's when we started walking down the street again, and I got up the block, and we got to this corner street, and as soon as we got there, it was like I said, it was a black and white unit pulled up on us, but it was a woman officer, right? A woman police officer, and she was by herself, and she just pulled up next to us, and so I'm thinking like, oh shoot, this kid's going to jail, right? That's what I was thinking in my head, like, oh man, you know, because I hadn't done nothing. I was thinking it was over that, and so she pulls us over. But what was interesting was that she went straight to me and asked me a question. She asked me like, hey, is your name such and such from such and such? And I was like, hell no, I'm such and such from over here. And she just kept questioning me, and I was just like, what the hell? Like, why the hell are you questioning me? Like, you should be questioning my little buddy right here, you know? Like, and so I was just, like, once that happened, I was like, oh shoot, something's up right here, you know? And I kept looking around, like, what's going on here? And I seen like this man, this older white gentleman walking on the sidewalk towards us, and he's just walking casually. You know, I seen him. He got like some blue jeans on and like a black shirt or something, and he's just walking, and I'm just like, man, something's up right here. You know, like I sensed it. Like this isn't good. I'm like, man, is this the day that I go down? You know, like I might, you know, and so I was like, this is how I'm like, as soon as this fool passes me, I'm gone. Like I'm just gonna book it. And so I waited for him to pass me by, to pass behind me. And as he was about to pass me by, I was gonna push him and run, right? But it didn't turn out that way. As soon as he got behind me, he just grabbed my ass and hit me up. And next thing you know, I was surrounded by like I don't know, like 3 or 4 unmarked cars, undercover police officers in plain clothes, and they just had me right there. They just pulled up on me, just bombarded me like, bam. And I was like, oh shoot. I was like, damn. I was like, I was in disbelief, you know, like shit, like this is it, you know. And of course, I kept trying to play the role, like, what the hell? What's all this for? Like, what are you arresting me for? Like, what's this all about? Like, man, let me go. And, you know, I started trying to, like, I started trying to play, like, the innocent role and things like that. And they just told me, like, you know what this is for. And I'm just like, what? Like, you guys are tripping. Like, hell nah, man. I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. Like, man, let me go. Like, you guys got the wrong person and this and that. And so they're just like, man, just shut up, man. And they threw me in the cop car, in the back of the cop car, and I'm sitting back there, and I'm just like, damn. And then now they're questioning the kid. They're just asking him. I don't know what they're asking him, but they're asking him certain questions. Like, I found out later, like they asked him like what he knew me by, what my name was, where I lived, things like that. So it was all about me. And so they kept me there, and my mind is just going, and I'm just like, damn. I'm looking around the area where I was at, like I grew up in that area, you know. I was 15 years I lived there in that same apartment building, and the same neighborhood and things like that, you know. So I was just like, damn. I'm looking around the car wash, the gas station, the Popeyes on the corner and things like that, and I'm just like,
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
I'm like saying my farewells in a way, like, man, this is probably going to be the last time I see these places, and I'm just like, damn, man, I'm just like, yeah, I'm going through it at the time, like, damn, I can't believe it, you know, like, yeah, this is it, it's a wrap, you know. And yeah, and so they come talk to me, and they don't tell me what I'm arrested for, but they're just like, we'll tell you once we get to the station. We'll have a talk with you or whatnot. They're not trying to say anything to me. And so I'm just like, man, but I know damn well what this is all about, you know. I'm just acting like I don't, like I already knew. I'm saying goodbye to all my, like, little corner shops and things like that, because I knew I was gone. I was going away for a long time. And so if you know, and at that time it was like, man, I'm gone forever, you know, like that's it. Like I'm a wrap. I'm washed up. And so yeah, that's how I ended up getting arrested. And sure enough, like when they did arrest me that day, they did go hit my my house. They went in and they went to my house, and they went in there, and that they didn't that I know of. I don't think they really messed it up, but I believe they did go in there and I don't know, probably search for somebody else or something like that. But there was nobody there, so, and nobody was home. Nobody was going to be home until like later on that evening. So yeah, that's how I wound up getting arrested. And yeah, my wheels were turning. You know, I'm like, damn, how can I get out of this situation? You know, what can I do here? Like, yeah, I was trying to figure something out at all costs. And so I came up with I ended up actually thinking of something that almost kind of worked, but it was just my stupid thinking that made me believe that, like, yeah, this might work. And so when they took me to West Valley Division, and they had me there, and they put me in the tank. The detectives pulled me out, and they just put me in, like, they just told me, like, hey, so this is what you're being charged with. You're being charged with 187 murder. Yeah, man, get comfortable, because you're gonna be sitting in that cell for the rest of your life, you know. And that's pretty much what he told me. When they didn't interrogate me, they didn't ask me no questions like, if anything, the only thing they asked me was like, hey, do you want to talk about this? And I was like, hell nah. Like, I have nothing to tell you, you know, I got nothing to say. All I know is that you guys got the wrong person. I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about, you know. And she was like, all right, we'll let you run with that. And what was funny was, what was so crazy was that when they walked me into the station, through the parking lot, they walked me into the station. I was cuffed up and stuff like that, and you could just, as soon as I walked in, everybody looks, like all the detectives and employees, like the police officers that are working there, you know, they just look back and they're just like, is that him? Is that what such his name? And they call me by my moniker, you know, like, is that really him? And they're just like, yeah, man, this is him. We got him. And it just all started clapping and like yelling, and like, yeah, like, well, we got him, you know, and they're all like celebrating, and I'm just in there like, what the hell? Like, walking through that office space to get booked and put in the cell. I'm just like, what the hell? I'm like looking, I'm thinking like like, these motherfuckers are crazy. I'm just like, what the hell, you know? Like, this shit is crazy. And yeah, and so they take me to the cell, and yeah, that's all they really told me was if I wanted to talk about it, and if not, then that's fine. And
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
shoot, he might have told me about my rights, and then just put me in the cell, and that's when I came up with the bright idea of how I can possibly get out of this situation. But I'm gonna have to hit you back up.
All right, cool. We'll be waiting. I appreciate you going through your journey with us, and I'm looking forward to to hear the rest right now when you call back.
All right.
All right, cool. So if you happen to be joining us here right now, and for the first time, these are actual live phone calls. We're live on the air right now. What is it today? It's Sunday, April 28th, 9:47 p.m. And this would be the third segment of his journey. The last segment, part 2, he got into his journey of how he ended up where he's gonna end up in just a moment when he continues in his story. He just got picked up for a 187, 19 years old.
This call is now being recorded.
Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Eric Fuentes.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello.
Hello.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So they ended up putting me in a holding tank, waiting to transfer me to another station, to Van Nuys Station, and then from there. Or actually, no, not even. So I don't know what they were waiting on to do or transfer me to the county jail. They were probably going to transfer me or whatever, right? But all I know is that I came up with the bright idea that, you know what, like, once I make it to the county jail, that's a wrap. Ain't no way of getting out of there, you know. That was my thought process. Like, nah, you got to figure something out now. So when they put me in the tank, and my crazy ass, man, that's how you know, like, I was out there, like, yeah, like I was tripping, you know, smoked out. But I freaking, I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna freaking ram my head against this wall, and I'm gonna hurt myself so that they could take me to the hospital. And then from the hospital, if hopefully I can stay there, and then I could just go from there, you know. But my main thing was like try to get to an area where you could possibly try to escape, you know, like. And I think about it now, man. I'm so glad none of that stuff worked, man, because yeah, I was just trying to evade justice and accountability, responsibility at all costs, you know. And so I did exactly that. They put me in the tank, and as soon as they put me in the tank, I freaking went head first against the freaking door, loud, boom, you know. And they just turned around like, what the hell? And they and they're just like, what the hell? And then I just kept doing it, boom, boom, right? And to the point where I kind of like got close to knocking myself out, because that was my objective, just hurting myself to where I'm gonna need medical assistance and they could take me to the hospital, you know. And then hopefully if I get hurt bad enough, then I'll be there. And then I could figure out a way to evade justice, you know. And so that's what I did. And then when, like, I don't know, probably the third or fourth, I don't know how many times. I know it was a few. I was like, damn. I was like, I don't even know if this is gonna work, because I started hurting, you know, like, this is crazy. And yeah, as I kept doing that, they were just like, man. And so they kept telling me to stop, but then they're just like, this fool's not gonna stop. And so on one of them, I hit pretty hard, and I hit the ground on that one after I hit the door and the wall and stuff like that. And man, thinking about that's giving me a headache. Thinking about it going back that way.
Yeah.
But right. And so, yeah, so I fall, and then they finally come over, and they open the door, and then they just rush in there and just like, stop, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? And things like that. And I don't, man, I'm telling you, I was trying to do anything and everything, that I could do to try to get to a hospital. I was doing. So when they came in and I was on the ground, I started convulsing, like acting like I was having a seizure. And they're just like, hey, he's having a seizure, right? Like I was freaking trying to win an Emmy or something, you know, an Oscar. And yeah, man. And so they got me there. They put something in my mouth so that I wouldn't like swallow my tongue, like, and things like that. And then they called something like that. I can't remember, but yeah, I started. Oh yeah, so I wouldn't bite my tongue, but I wasn't really biting it. Like I was conscious the whole time. But this is how bad I was, you know, like trying to get away and yeah, like take no responsibility, just freaking not even thinking about none of the people I heard, like none of that stuff, you know. It's just about me, straight selfishness. You know, me, and my survival, and my self-preservation, and things like that. And so, yeah, they ended up calling the ambulance, and they put me in the back, and they took me to the hospital. They took me to freaking I remember too. They took me to Northridge Hospital, and I was like, man, I was like right by the hood. So I'm just like, man, this is perfect. But my idea is that, yeah, it just, So they freaking put me on a gurney, and the first thing they do is they cuff my ass up to the gurney and they tie my ass down. Like I wasn't going nowhere, and then they took me to the hospital and they just took me there, and it was real quick. Like they took me and they're just like, hey, we need to give this guy a CAT scan. He has like some just check his head, like he might have some head trauma. He was bumping his head against the wall, and he knocked out, and it looked like he might have been having a seizure. And so they went in there, and I'm thinking like, oh yeah, this is gonna be my time right here, because they can't put me in the CAT scan with all this metal on me. I got the cuffs and I got all that, and I'm just like, yeah, that's when I'm gonna try to get away, try to book it. And so, yeah, man, that didn't go how I had imagined it or planned it out, because all they did was like, all right, sir, we're gonna put you to sleep right now, and I'm just fighting. I'm like, oh, this shit ain't gonna work. Like hell no, I'm gonna stay up.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
They're counting down from 10. I'm just like, I'm gonna resist this. I'm not gonna go out. You trying to use all my willpower to try to stay up, and it's how messed up I was, at the time, and yeah, they just knocked me straight out. Next thing I know, I'm freaking waking up. I'm cuffed up and strapped to the gurney again. Like, all right, well, you're good. Like, we just did your CAT scan, everything's good, and it's like, all right, now we're gonna take your ass to Van Nuys Station, and you're going to the county. And so that plan didn't work, and just trying to avoid taking any type of responsibility at all whatsoever. And so they took me, and they took me to the Van Nuys Station after that, and after that I just waited. Like I think I can't remember what date this might have been, but shortly after that, county bus came to pick us up, and I was in the station, and I remember getting my like little I don't know what it's called, but like you get your like a little paper, like a little slip, and then it has your name on it. It has your booking number, and then or some number on it, and it sets my charge. And I was just like, damn, like this is crazy. Like I couldn't believe like this was my charge. Like damn, like you did this to yourself, Like can't cry about it now, Like being in that situation, like I could only blame myself, but of course I didn't, at the time. At the time I was in absolute denial. It was everybody else's fault for mine. Like if this girl wouldn't have took me to that party, then none of this would have ever happened. And if the homie didn't say nothing, then it's just blaming everybody else but myself. That was the mindset that I held at the time. And so shortly thereafter, I wound up in LA County Jail, going through processing, and freaking balls to butts and all that, butt naked on a bench, and man, that processing got people sleeping. Yeah, nuts to butts. Nuts to butts, and it's like, what the, like, damn, and it's like hundreds of freaking all kinds of individuals, and it's like, shoot, like, what the hell? Sitting on that cold ass bench, like, are you serious right now? And it's like, yeah, it just got real, like, damn, it's the stench too. It's just, and it's so cold too, because they try to like, keep it cold to try to like kill off bacteria and disease. And it's like, damn, and you're just shivering going through this process. You got people sleeping on the hallways. People bundled up. You got groups of men just trying to stay warm, like, and like trying to get at the trustees, like, hey, let me get a blanket, or like, let me get some extra blues or something, just trying to stay warm, like trying to survive through that processing, man. That processing was no joke. But to me, at that time, just going through it myself, my mind was just so occupied with my charges and what my future looked like that I was pretty much numb throughout to the process, to everything that I was going through. And I was just like, man, I was like just in disbelief of what I had done to myself, what I had to like, man. And if you hear it, like, I'm thinking myself, but during that time, it's just on me. Never am I even thinking about the victim's family, the other victims and their families, my community, the detectives, law enforcement. I'm not thinking about none of that at the time. Now I recognize, the impact and magnitude of my crime, but back then it was just like, me. How can I get out of this? How, like, man, man, like, I'm a wrap. That's it. I'm done. I'm washed up. But not even thinking about, like, taking responsibility or any of that. Like, shoot, or just none of that stuff at the time. And so and so I went through my processing and it took me about 2 days, because and I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the processing, right? And you know how that goes.
Bad.
It takes its time, to even get a bed.
You know what was the worst? Man, the people that hadn't taken a shower for like a year, they would have some. Now they call them unhoused people. Woo, that was the worst.
Right, transient.
Yeah.
Oof. Yes. Yes. You got a lot of those people in it. Yeah.
The worst part is when they have everybody get undressed, and they it's like, I want to say, like, I don't know if it's like 50 people or 100 people, I can't recall, but it's so jam-packed in there. Everybody's like holding to their clothes to their chest, shoes, dirty socks, whatever, and just the foul smell. People are passing gas. There's people that are going through withdrawals. It's just like the worst smell.
Yeah.
It's just like a concoction of
Esta
everything you can
llamada
smell
y
up.
su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
If you've never been to the experience, you're definitely not missing out on anything.
No, it's one of the worst things you can go through. As far as like going to jail, it's that damn processing that LA County processing is no joke. Like, it's terrible, man. Like, and to put it on top of, like, if you're incarcerated for something big, it's like, damn, just add that to the freaking to the situation,
Yeah. And then man, it's crazy. It's crazy. And then depending on where you end up, what floor you end up on, that's a whole different journey. Cause man, you could end up in a 6-man cell, you could end up in a 2-man cell, you could end up in a single cell, you could end up in a dorm, and man, it's just crazy, man. It's crazy. Like, if the wrong people are in power, then you might be having something coming. Cause
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
Because they can, they could do whatever they want. Hopefully, you're in good standings, and you got somebody with a good head on their shoulders, handling those dorms or the tiras or the unit or whatever the hell they call them.
Man. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. That's it's craziness, bro. But I gotta call you back, huh?
Yeah. We're down to about 25 seconds. Yep.
All right.
Well,
let me just hit you back up.
Okay, cool.
All right.
All right. So let me see. So we got a lovely Sunshine, and she writes hello, and then we got Nando, yo, excuse me, on the tira. Nando checking in, Holmes. Gracias. All right. And then yeah, I like that. I like how you came into the chat. You came in super firme, and And let's see what else we got right here. We got Lovely Sunshine. Could you ask Eric what was one thing he can unsee? Okay, I'll double check with him right now when he comes back, man. The worst thing I can unsee is man, I seen this guy and he had the worst toenails ever. They look like freaking dragon toes. Oh, they're like black, long, and dirty. It was just, and then you said you can't unsee it, man, but the smell, I cannot smell the smell. It was just all bad.
This call is now being
Global
recorded.
Telling, usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Eric Fuentes.
un individuo encarcelado en de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello, Eric.
Hello. Yeah.
So, one of our viewers here, Lovely Sunshine, she's asking, could you ask Eric what's one thing he can unsee?
What's one thing I can't unsee is, man, I mean, in jail or just in period, like, or during the county. I mean, one thing I can't unsee, well, there's a few things. Man, there's violence in prison. I can't. Well, I guess that you would say, referring to this process in county jail, man, just seeing these people catch staff, and that stuff just starts eating your body up. Like, I've seen these guys that were getting processed or even getting housed with like these big old blisters of just of staph infection eating at their freaking like arms, you know, just growing into like big old whelps. Like, damn, and that's just so freaking nasty. It's like damn, that thing will get to your bone. Like, if it's untreated, like it's so disgusting, man. You know, and so I that's what kind of comes to mind when asking this question and having to go through this county process. It's just like, oh shoot, this shit is nasty. You know,
and a fun fact for that, only because you have staph infection, you would think if you go to the deputies and you let them know that you need some medical assistance, that they would grab it for you. Nah, it doesn't work like that. Normally, they'll get medical assistance for you when you're almost about to, when you're on the brink of going, catching the elevator up to the upper room or taking a dirt nap. When you're almost like in coma, that's when they're gonna come get help. But if you're still breathing and you're conscious, they're probably gonna ignore you.
Oh yeah, you're all right. You're good, man. Just go sleep it off. Or like, they ain't messing with you. Yeah, you gotta be like in a dire state before they actually end up paying attention to you, for sure.
Yeah. So,
if anything, they'll tell you to get the hell away from them because they ain't trying to catch that stuff themselves.
Give you some salt. Give you some salt to rub it in and pack it in, and hopefully that'll help you out right there.
Yeah, most definitely, man. It's no joke.
Yeah,
sheriffs, man, it's crazy. Yeah.
So were you ultimately were you housed there in Old County, or did they end up shooting you out to Wayside?
No, I've been all over the place. So initially, when I first got there, I ended up getting housed in 4,000th floor. I remember getting to 4,000th floor. I think there's probably Denver Row, if I remember correctly. But it was the 4,000th floor. I ended up getting housed there, and and it was a four-man cells, and there's already individuals in there. and man, I don't remember. I don't know if I think it was I had like a couple white guys with me in that tank. It wasn't really no Hispanics. Maybe one, or like somebody, but they weren't really into any of the stuff that goes on in there, you know?
Yeah.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
I remember the first trip I took to county jail. It was courtesy trip from the juvenile hall system, Department 202, Judge Hollowitz. She gave me a small little taste of county jail, and I ended up in a 6-man cell, and man, I don't know, like, it's crazy because it was just filthy. There was like a bunch of dirty covers on the floor, and I do remember that I didn't sleep on the floor, which was a huge relief because somebody had to give up their bunk so I could sleep on it. Poor guy.
Yeah.
And if you know who's giving up their beds. If you hit, I mean, it just sucks for them, but cool for me because I don't have to deal with Freeway Freddy, crawling over me or somebody urinating in the toilet and missing it and leaving it out all over the floor because it's very small quarters. You think a 6-man cell, you probably got a 10 by 10. Nah, I think more like a 4 by 4.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, it's very small, and I think during my time when I went in, 06, it wasn't. They started because it was 6-man cells, and it had 6 bunks in there, right?
Yeah.
The 2 across, then 2 lower, and then the 2 on the other side.
Yeah.
But they were only housing 4 people in there at the time because that's really how small that place was. Like it was ridiculously small. It's like you're like bumped like feet to head when you're like sleeping. Like my foot is right above somebody else's head, and if I'm sleeping on the depending on the bunk, it's either their foot over my head and things like that. And then it's bars, and they got the bars, and that tier it's super loud. Everybody's saying something, screaming out the tier, like just talking, and it's and then you got the Freeway Freddy's for sure, and going down the tier, and then you got even people feeding them, it's so much craziness, and the wall, and everything just looks so old too, like the gate and the sounds of like the cracking or the clacking of like when they buzz the door, like like all that's the sound, right? That's your environment right there, and it's like that's all day, and the bars being open. Like that's just what it was. That's what it is.
You know what I remember? I remember like right now that you're talking about those doors and the bars and whatnot. I remember that it was like this is not like an updated jail. This is like prehistoric. So the way you open up those doors, they had like these levers that they would switch up or down depending on what you wanted to do, and then no, he's in Centinela, and I remember like they would distract the deputies, or the deputies would walk away. One of the trustees would come with one of the brooms to open up those doors. I would trip out on that. I'm like, man, this is crazy. Fools are trying to get out. They're trying to get out their cells because there is no movement. You don't go anywhere. You're stuck in that cell all day long. You're not going anywhere. You're not going out to eat. Yeah, they bring you your trays. There is no yard. Yep.
No. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, man. And it feels like you get lost too. Like, oh shit, because everything looks so so identical. Like even the tiers, they're so similar. Like, oh shit, is this where I live? And it's like, damn, I don't even know, because they're not guiding you either. They're not like chaperoning you around, where you need to go. It's like you got to know where you live, and it's like make it there, And it's like, oh shoot, like, like what the hell? Like I think I probably when I first came in, like I probably walked into a whole different block because the doors and same floor, but I lived in 4700, and for some odd reason I walked into 4300. Like, hold on, go in there, like this is kind of different. Like, is this? And I'm like, hold on, like step back out of here. And it's like, and sometimes too when you get in there, it's like you get trapped because those doors they're like one way, one way. They buzz you and you go through one, and then it's like, oh shoot, like this ain't even where I'm at. Like, hey, like get me out, but there's really nobody there there's like no human contact, like, oh shoot, like you gotta start looking towards mirrors, like flagging them down and stuff like that, like, hey, and they're probably looking at you like, what's wrong with this guy? Like, like, take it to your cell, or like, this guy's stupid or something. Like, they're just, yeah, like, what the hell is this guy doing, And so, yeah, it's freaking, it's crazy, man. It's so crazy, like, kind of like a maze in a way, that county jail, man.
Yeah, you know what? So luckily for me, the first time I ended up there, I only slept there. So I was only in that 6-man cell for one night. But I still remember that 6-man cell. I remember very vividly. The next morning, they woke us up for a movement to shoot us up to Wayside, and I remember some dudes that were talking about jumping the line to try to stay in county. They're like, "Hey, yeah, jump the line so you stay here." Fuck, I don't want to stay in county. Shit, I mean, This is already worse. I mean, how much worse can Wayside be? And man, it ended up being a lot worse because one of the dudes that came with us, that he was actually in the same cell, in the 6-man cell that I stayed at. He ended up trying to start a damn riot in the damn dorm that I hit. So I was like, man, this fool, he was on some high power. Like, I think he had already been upstate, and he was just one of those dudes that was ready to crack it off. I'm like, man, I'm not ready for a riot. I haven't even been here 48 hours yet. I mean, you got my feet wet.
Yeah. Like, what the hell? Let me get comfortable, man. Damn. Dude. Yeah, for sure, yeah. Because coming straight off the streets to like that, it's like, whoa, what the hell? Like, you ain't ready for that, Like, let me see how let me learn the ropes at least a little bit,
Yeah.
It's got to be scary. Super scary.
And yeah, it was, man. I remember the first day I got to Wayside Supermax. I woke up and I turned to my right and I seen some youngster getting regulated. They were punching him in his chest. I was like, fuck. And then it didn't get any better and shit.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't get any better.
Nah, heck no. It's all violence, man. It's all violence. I mean, you got thousands of individuals with that distorted mindset in there, and like I said, what's good is bad, and what's bad is good. So everything that was bad is like, all right, like let's go for this. Regulations, weapons, riots, contraband, all that stuff. It's all in there, It's just everybody's of that same mindset.
So during this time that you're in county jail, has anybody come to visit you yet? To check up on you. And you have to go to your first court appearance within 70.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Is it 48 hours or 72 hours that you have to go to your first appearance for court?
I think it was like within the 72, right? But I think I did that before I even left
the glass
station.
House? Okay.
Yeah, no, in a Van Nuys station. I think it might have. Yeah, something like that. I really can't remember, but you go for your man, it's been so long, I can't even remember what it's called now. What do they call that first?
Is it preliminary? Is it the preliminary hearing?
No, it was in the prelim. It was man, I can't. dude. I'm
just
sorry,
pretty much where
can't-
where they
I
read the
can't remember.
charges, like the first court they where they just
Yeah,
read
yeah,
the charges.
Yep, exactly. Your arraignment.
Your
That's
arraignment,
what it's
okay,
called.
yeah, yeah.
Go to your arraignment. Yep, exactly. Yeah, so I went to my
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
arraignment, and man, I remember just too, like just the first getting busted. It's like calling my family, you know, like really my brother, like, hey bro, like, you know, they got me, and it's like, damn, like I know even my brother was like majorly hurt, you know, and he was just like, you know, like don't worry, bro, like we're gonna get you a lawyer, and you know we're gonna beat this, and like you didn't do nothing, and it's just so crazy because like everybody knew like I was guilty as charged, you know, and it's like, nah, we're gonna beat it, we're gonna get you a lawyer, and it's like nobody's even talking to you about like, hey, how about, you know, like we start talking.
All right, so the 15 minutes were up, and right now when he comes back, I'll go ahead and ask him. I'll go ahead and start asking some of his questions here. So, and I see Lovely Sunshine, you're asking what his first day in the yard was like. So in LA County Jail, it's rare that you would go to a yard. Normally, you wouldn't hit your first yard till you hit a state prison. So, but I'll double check with him to check if he went to the yard right there in Old County. They do have a yard upstairs on the roof. And then LA Analyst is asking, did he ever go to YA? I don't recall him saying that he went to YA, but I'll double check with him right now when the call reconnects. And you know, these garbage tail link calls are only good for 15 minutes. And there he is.
Esta
This
es
call is
Global
now being
Telling.
recorded.
Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Eric Fuentes.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello, Eric.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have two questions for you. I'll go ahead and read out both questions, and then if you could go ahead and answer them after that. So the first question is going to be from Lovely Sunshine, and she's asking, can he describe what was his first day on the yard? And I was explaining to her, normally in county jail it was rare for you to go to the yard, but I don't know if you were fortunate enough to go up to the yard up on the roof. And then the second question is going to be from LA Analyst, and she wants to know if you ever went to YA.
So I'll answer the quick one, the LA Analyst. No, I never hit YA. Thank God. I was close to it, but unfortunately I did not. And then as far as my first yard, yeah, it was. I actually was able to go to the roof. I was able to go to the roof, LA County, and it was you're up there and you're just on this cage roof. You know, you're on this cage roof, and I'm just like, what the hell? Like looking at this place, like, what is this? You know, there's nothing out there. They probably got some some beat up basketball court with a beat up basketball, and then they also have like a segmented area or a divided area that's fenced off, and they have cages on those where they put the those that are in high power, and they put them in those cages, and so it's like a cage inside a cage, and you're looking at all these things, and those cages, they got bars in them, they got a phone in them. And I ended up in those cages eventually, but that was further along when I went back to court. But
esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
I remember going to that roof, and you have no view of nothing. Everything is just blocked off, you know, and even the roof is blocked off because it's covered by a fence, and like the only view the only thing you can really see is the sky, and so it was like at least we got to see that, but it just felt like, you know, we were in a big ass cage, and then they have like a bunch of phones out there, and a bunch of phones, and they got like the bathroom area and things like that. It's super filthy. It's super filthy, and you know, you're walking up there, and like everybody's on their own tip, like. And people are just jumping on the phones, calling their family, their loved ones. I remember, like, that was one of the main things that I did. Like, I didn't really interact with many people. Like, nobody was really like. I mean, they asked questions like whatever, you know, who I was and whatnot. And then once all that was established, it was like that was it. Like paid me no mind, you know, unless I was needed for something. Like that's the only time they kind of like paid you any mind, like, oh, you know, we got to use you for something. But aside from that, it was like you just did your own thing, and then, you know, sometimes things will be brought up. You know, things will be brought up, especially you going in there and you're running with someone. Like, I mean, you know, once you, like, it's like once you get in there, you're either running with somebody or you're not, and it's like you really don't have a choice to the matter, and so for me, since I was you know, a gang member, that's what my involvement was. Like that's who I ended up having a run as, you know, a gang member from my area and stuff like that. And so yeah, I remember going to that yard, and my thing was just looking at this like, wow, this is what it's come to, you know, like still, like, in disbelief, you know, everything of, but at the same time, it was like, all right, well, I'm here, so, you know, like, let's make the best out of it or whatever. And so, like, if there was anybody there that I kind of felt comfortable with talking to or whatever, like, I was asking questions. Like, so what's up? You know, what's the deal? And I was being ran down, you know, on what, who was who and what was what, and, you know, just kind of like little by little learning the ropes and stuff, like, because I already knew, like I was going to be there for a while. Like, you know, there was no, like, not having to care about none of that because I'm going to get out soon anyway, so it's like, what's the point? But when I found myself in that position, like, this is going to be my place for a good minute, for a long time, and it's like, I better start learning, and I need to learn fast because it could get ugly real quick in there, you know, like you said, with riots and things like that. Like, yeah, it could get ugly. So it's like you gotta be on your P's and Q's, you know. And so I kind of gravitated towards certain people that, like, I felt comfortable with, that would, like, guide me in the right direction and things like that, and ask questions. But I was like very brief, just to get my curiosity out the way. And I remember just calling my family for the most part, talking to my brother and my mom, like shoot, like trying to find some kind of comfort, you know, like, tell me something, you know, like, what's going on, like, are you talking to a lawyer, or talk to my mom, like, hey mom, like, how you doing, like, I'm all right, things like that. And asking my mom, like, because my mom, I felt like, you know, God rest her soul, man, but I felt like my mom always kind of had like intuition, like she kind of knew. So I would always ask her, like, hey mom, I'm gonna get out of this, right? Like, I'm gonna beat this, right? And man, and it just, like, during this time, she couldn't answer that question for me, because in the past she would be like, yeah, don't worry about it, you're gonna be all right. But this time it was just like no sé, you know, like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but let's just pray that that things work out, you know. And it was like, shoot, and that's how like I kind of knew, like, damn, like this is not gonna go how I would want it, you know. And so yeah, that was like kind of like my first days in the yard and hitting that roof, man. Like just trying to get acquainted with things and jumping on that phone and looking at the sky, knowing that that's the only view that I had to freedom. You know, like, man, all that out there, and here we are, you know.
And let me ask you something. So when you arrested, were you arrested by yourself? Because I know you mentioned that there was a whole carload of you when this crime went down.
Right. Yeah, when I got arrested by myself. But prior to that, like I said, a couple of the guys that I was with that night, they ended up getting arrested that same day. And one of them, the guy that pretty much started telling, right, that you know, try to save himself, you know, from the whole situation. He got out, but the driver, he ended up getting arrested, and he ended up getting charged with possession of ex-convict with possession of a loaded firearm, and he was supposed to be my crimey, and it's crazy because we ended up on the same block and same floor and same tier. And I remember when I got there, like I was calling home, you know. I was calling home, and they were just like, "Hey, such and such is housed over here. Where are you at?" I'm like, "I'm right here too." He's like, "What row are you in?" And he's like, "I'm on this row too." And he's like, "He should be somewhere down the way." And so here I go calling down the tier, like, "Hey," you know, calling his name, and sure enough, we're both there, like damn, like, "What's up, fool? You know, what's going on?" And he's like, "Man, dude, he's like, I'm stressed out." And I'm like, we're gonna be all right, you know. I try to keep a positive.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
You know, and try to tell him, like, "Don't sweat it, man. We're gonna be all right, you know, like, we're gonna beat this." You know, that was the mentality at the time. And then she's like, "Man, I hope so, man, cause man, dude, my girl's pregnant and this and that." And he's like, "But I'm trying to bail out." I'm like, "Bail out?" I'm thinking, like, what do you mean bail out? Like, what's your bail? Or like, what? You know, because my bail was $5.5 million. I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm bailing out. But I don't think that just because of that, I didn't try, because I definitely tried to bail out on that. But it just another one of my ideas of trying to get out, trying to beat the system. But it didn't end up happening. But yeah, he ended up getting like $100 and some thousand, $130,000, $130,000 bill, and because he hadn't got charged with the crime yet. You know, they were just waiting because he got arrested so quick that they didn't have enough evidence to charge him with that. They hadn't done ballistics on the gun. They hadn't identified the car completely. Like, there was still like things in the air that were like that they weren't ready to present in court yet to charge him. And so yeah, so he's there with me, and he's telling me, like, "Yeah, I'm trying to bail out." And I'm just like, "Man, well, man, good luck, you know." And he's like, "Yeah, hey, can you ask," you know, he's trying to ask me to ask my people, like, if they could help out. And I'm just like, dude, like, my people's trying to help me out right now, you know, like I highly doubt it, you know. And so yeah, the only crimey that I was supposed to have was him. However, because of how he was charged and because of his bail, he ended up bailing out. He bailed out like 2 or 3 days after I arrived there, and I believe his dad put his house on the line for the bail bond company business, and yeah, he freaking I remember him coming out of his cell and passing by my cell, you know, down the tier, walking down the tier, and he's got like his couple of belongings. He's probably got like a soup, a soap dish, and like, you know, a toothbrush, like just a couple things, you know. And he comes to my cell, and you know, since his bar is right there, he rolls up and he's just like, "Hey, fool, I'm getting bailed out right now." And I'm just like, "What?" And I was just like, and I mean, and you would think like, "Oh shoot, like hell yeah, that's right, like boom." But honestly, I was sad. I was like, damn, like I was feeling like I was being left behind, like I was on my own, like I was being left alone. Like if at least he would have been there with me to fight the case, and I wouldn't have felt so alone, like just on my own. And so I was just like, oh man, shoot, like, oh that's right, fool, like, man, we'll get up out of here then, bro, like, you know, like, he's like, yeah, and whatever I can do for you out there, and this and that, you know, all the promises that people make when they're getting out, and he,
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
So he's like, but here's a couple things, and I remember him giving me like his soap dish and a soap and like a couple soups, and I'm just like, oh gee, it's like gee whiz, you know, like thanks, you know, like all right, bro. Like, oh man, I was just like dude, you know, I'm just like, all right, like good looking out, man. All right, man, take care of yourself. And yeah, he ended up bailing out, and shortly thereafter, he was gone, man. He was gone. He took off to Mexico. It's yet to be found.
Damn. So he went on the run. That he was out on the lam. That fool absconded.
Out on the lam. That's straight away. You know. Yeah.
Damn.
Like yeah, he didn't waste no time. Probably stayed around for like a couple.
All right, man. These calls have been flying by pretty quick. I'm not sure if it's the same thing for you, but it is for me. So he should be calling back shortly, and once he calls back, then we'll go ahead and continue. You know, I think the video on the background it's freezing for some odd reason. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know. Maybe it's all this crazy weather. I know my wife told me she was in Target yesterday, and she saw a mini tornado. She saw carts going all over the place.
This call is now being recorded.
Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Eric Fuentes.
un individuo encarcelado de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello, Eric.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So just to give you the heads up, after this one, this will be our last, or this one will be our last one, and we'll call it a night. Man,
sure.
The time's definitely been flying by, man. I didn't even realize it that we've been on for like almost an hour and 40 minutes already.
Right? It's crazy.
Right?
We get going. Like shoot, I'm even thinking like, man, I gotta go to work tomorrow too. You know?
You're gonna be like me. You're gonna be snoozing your watch.
Hell yeah, big time.
Yeah.
I'm already knowing that. I'm about to just take off the first alarm and give it to the second one.
There it is. Man, so we were
Yeah.
just talking about your crime. You know, he was gone. He was adios. You know, he he went across the border, and I'm not talking about going to Taco Bell. So to this day, he's never been found.
No, not to my knowledge. Yeah, that's when I was over there, and when I was fighting my case and stuff like that. Like, yeah, last I heard was, yeah, he was gone. He was gone. So, and I might have heard a little bit of him during my incarceration, but it's been so many years, like with people that I used to keep in touch with and stuff like that, and yeah, and so far, last thing I had heard was that he was out there. He was out there with his girl. He took his girl, and she was pregnant at the time, and yeah, they just ended up making a life for themselves over there. I guess something like that. Yeah. So, to this day.
So out of all the people that were in their car with you, I think I remember correctly, you said there was like 2 girls and was it like 3 guys? So it was like a total of 6 of you, right? 6 or 7. So only 2 of you got charged, and then you had mentioned 2 people had got picked up the same day. They ended up they were trying to get the quickest deal possible, and they probably got the best deal, which was they got immunity, and then what happened to the 2 girls? The girls, because I remember you mentioning that there was 2 girls in the car with you guys.
Yeah, there was 2 girls in there. I didn't know them. They were with them when I ended up meeting up with them and stuff like that. But they never got brought up. Nobody ever asked. Well, they probably did ask, but I don't know who the hell they were. And then the individuals the individual who did know them, I think he never said anything about them, so they never got brought up. They never got brought up, never got questioned. It was just like, there was 2 girls there. We don't know who they were, and that was that. Like, so yeah, nothing ever happened to them. Nothing. They never were brought into the case or nothing. They were just a knowledge that there was 2 girls in the vehicle, but nobody ever said who they were, and so nobody ever knew who those 2 girls were.
Oh, okay. Yeah, man, that's crazy. I'm pretty sure they weren't expecting none of that. You know, they were just probably hanging out to party for a good time, and man, they got they could have easily got caught up for no fault of theirs, and they could have been in there also with a life sentence.
For sure. Yeah, and then the other two guys, like I said, they ended up getting grand use of immunity for their testimony.
Oh, so they went to court and they pointed you out? Eventually, when you went to court?
Yeah, at my trial, they got them to see. They took the stand. And yeah, he testified against me.
So right now, since we're you brought up court. So how was that whole process? You're going to court and these court cases, they're not, it's not like in the movies, that you get picked up and then, the next day later, you got 25 to life. These processes, this court process is very long. It's a long, dragged out process. How many months or years did it take you to finally get to your trial date?
It took me about 2 years before I finally set my court date to start my trial. It was close to 2 years. I'd say about between 18 to 24 months around that time. I finally made it to we finally made it to